Hello and welcome to my vlog number 78. Nothing special for this time round, so I'm just using my pre-recorded garden background while waiting for the dark times of winter to pass. So it happened, Trump got back in. I'm not big on politics, so all I'll say is this. We've been through 4 years of him, we can last another 4. Regardless of the tactics the party used, they're not Nazis and he's not Hitler. He's not going to start any wars, but he's not really one for global cooperation. Provided he doesn't find a way to overturn the 22nd Amendment, which states that they can only run 2 terms, this will be the last time he can stand. Sadly, it doesn't change the sentiment in the US that put him there, but that's so far above my head it might as well be in orbit. One thing that has made me laugh though, Department of Government Efficiency. We won't ask why it has 2 people running it, but still. Let's move on. In my last vlog I mentioned how FS Trim was slowing my laptop down. Well, I looked deeper and it shouldn't be taking hours, so I ran SpinRite on the drive. SpinRite took about 3 hours and was showing areas of the drive that had never been written to slowing up while reading and writing. Now, instead of it taking 3 hours, it takes just a few seconds to FS Trim. Big win there. It's an automatic thing to keep the SSD card in tip-top condition. Anyway, it would seem I inherited a PlayStation 4. My son bought a new PlayStation 5 Slim, not a Pro, and gave his PS5 to my wife. That means her PlayStation 4 was cascaded down to me. I've set up a new PlayStation account and configured it as I like while leaving hers in place, purely for Spyro Reignited. I've also set up an OBS overlay and all the switching between scene layouts using Stream Deck-like software Sammy, so I can quickly change streaming profiles between this and my other systems. One trouble I found is it's greedy and keeps stealing focus through my HDMI switcher, so most of the time it's switched off. Though I played Spyro last night and it seems that my idea to force the resolution to 1080p rather than auto-detect may have solved this issue. Time will tell, but if it has I may well be using it more often. I'm still mostly for classic retro systems though, but it's nice to have the option for modern gaming now should I feel the urge. Talking of OBS, I've set up a completely new scene for when I take over the reins of the main Meister High Score kerfuffle. I plan to stream game selections on YouTube and not Twitch because that's better for most competitors. I found a weighted selector wheel online and worked out how to integrate that into OBS as a source rather than as a clumsy web page clip. It's still a bit clunky, but it does remember the settings and means I don't have to open another web tab to dedicate to the stream. I really need to test the setup with a short YouTube stream, but there's no rush. I mean, it's not due to happen until February and it should work just fine. Plenty of time for that. Now, I had a bit of an Amiga session last week. I tried to get the MIDI setup I have working, but it just sounds awful. Hanging in out-of-tune notes, missing instruments and just wrong. I'm using a Pro MIDI interface, a MIDI to USB adapter and an MT32 Pi. I think it could be either the Pro MIDI interface, which cost 30 quid to play Blackpool last year, or the adapter, which was a cheaper I bought on eBay. But the only way to be sure is to get a high quality adapter, which will cost over 50 quid. That's a Roland adapter. If anyone has another way to test this out, I'll be very interested to know, because I ain't spending over 50 quid on an adapter that I'm not sure is going to work. I also updated Caffeine OS, which is based on Amiga OS 3.9 and is now a 64GB image instead of 32GB. The biggest difference I can see being the huge number of WHD load games added to the collection, which is definitely not a bad thing. The other thing I did was to upgrade to the latest Amiga vision on both the Mister and the Amiga itself. It now has a Go Online function, which works perfectly on Mister, but I can't get it to work on the Amiga itself. It's using the Miami TCP stack and PPP for the interface. Now, PPP is equivalent to dial-up and it uses a null modem setup. The Amiga itself is using the Wi-Fi Pi device on the Pi Store, which is Ethernet, not PPP. And while I have all the settings for Miami DX, which is what Caffeine OS uses to make it work, I can't get Miami to even recognize the device. But it's not that important because I have Amiga internet access via Caffeine OS and my own custom Amiga OS 3.2.2 config. So that's okay. And I mean, it's not really needed for Amiga Vision. But there we go. The one thing I have done, which really sped up things for this update, was to create a floppy disk image with all the files needed to access the compact flash card for quick files transfer, because it's not built into Amiga OS. It's not built into Amiga Vision, and I use that for file transfer. Very quick. It means I can plug a compact flash into the PC, copy files across, plug this adapter then into the Amiga, and copy files from there, or even run full games from it. It's good. Anyway, that worked first time perfectly, so that's much faster now. Okay. I see that Blue Sky has added sudden jump in users. I did join quietly a while back, but didn't use it much as it was very quiet. Now, a lot of people who I used to keep in touch with on Twitter, RIP, have set up on Blue Sky. And while I still much prefer Mastodon, which is my preferred method of microblogging if you want, if it's taking people away from Eloon's personal playground of misinformation, then that's fine with me. For now. At least until the owner sells out again. I actually checked out X yesterday for a laugh, and I saw Alex Jones of all people in my feed. Alex Jones, a far-right conspiracy nutcase in my feed. No, I don't follow him, so why was he being thrown in my face? They're throwing their own agenda, and it's gone, and basically that was the last straw. So I decided to terminate my account there. I'm not going to delete any posts manually, because what I posted there in the past is my usual dribble. But I'll deactivate my account on the 25th, so it gets deleted 30 days later, and becomes a bit of a Christmas present. It's just no longer worth the bother anymore. I haven't gone in there for much for a while, and with they're just throwing their agenda on you. It's not for me, thank you very much. Anyway, let's not finish the main vlog on a sour note though. In better news, I've been asked if I can help archive some VIC-20 tapes to a digital format for a preservation project. Now, I don't have the capability right now, but I intend to purchase an adapter that will allow a clean recording to be made to PC from my Commodore cassette deck, which can then be converted to tab format, which will run in emulators. I'll be able to update you on this by my next vlog. Now, on to the shout-outs of people who've been commenting on my videos for the last 3 weeks. These are Delboy3K1, Colin Thompson, Jambon Emmental, R2 the Cat from Finland, Lucas Rainford, Nebula6, Spectrum 128K, Maud, and the great piss taker John B3211 who commented on my cycle, swearing. Yes, I'm getting a grumpy old bugger, and I'm gonna just like my vlogs, just like my streams, I'm gonna try and cut down on the language, but since it happens in the heat of the moment, I'm not going to promise on that one. Thank you all for interacting with me on my content. I'll just finish as usual by giving my thoughts to those suffering from the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East. Given recent events, I'm pretty concerned, but time will tell for that, so I won't go any further. I'm also not bothering with the Ukraine flag, because then that's leaving out the Middle East and it gets too complex otherwise. So I'll just leave that for now. My thoughts are still with you all. Anyway, that's it for another vlog. Thanks for putting up with this rambling nonsense, and I'll catch you all again for another one in 3 weeks. Stay safe, and ta-ra now.